Hi everyone, Benjy here. Welcome to another video of me talking at the camera about matching and blessing relationships and things like that. If you're watching this video, you're probably curious about the title. And you'd be surprised to hear that this is actually a very common question that people have, whether they vocalize it or they think internally. Is there really someone for me? Is there really this ideal partner out there that God has prepared me for? And am I lovable, essentially? And the short, simple answer is no, you're not. Of course, I'm kidding. But this is a serious question that a lot of people consider. And, without getting into the psychology and, maybe reason that people have this kind of mentality and thinking when they're going into a relationship or preparing for marriage or going into a matching process, is there really somebody for me, And the short answer really is absolutely yes. And this is something that I want to shake into your head if you're somebody that's thinking, I've been at this for a few months or a few weeks or a few years even, and I just don't know if it's not working out. I don't know if the right person is out there. And let me tell you, the person is out there. And without getting into, case studies, I'll give you a few case studies during this video, okay? About people who seemingly are, unconfident, unmarriageable, have issues, problems, habits, addictions, and being able to overcome those and have a certain level of self-awareness and preparedness to be in a relationship. And when they're in that relationship, just having honest, open communication. I'm going to talk exactly about what those things are that you need to do to make sure that you have this kind of level of communication and honesty and openness when you're starting a communication, and how to have success with finding the ideal person, okay? So let's take myself, for example, because I don't really want to talk about anybody else. To be honest, there are some people who I've helped through the matching process, and of course, being the limited-minded, short-sighted person that I sometimes am, I thought, oh wow, this person has a lot of barriers to go through. He's not really, marriage type, or he's not really, at a place where I felt like he was ready for marriage and blessing. And, something proved me wrong. God proved me wrong. And they ended up finding someone who had similar values as them, someone that had similar vision and goals. And they have beautiful marriages. They started communicating, step by step. They started talking about important things to them, having honest conversations about, sexual integrity, for example, honest conversations about past experiences or values, what they believe in. And little by little, they developed a truly remarkably beautiful relationship, had children. And these are the kind of cases that happen all the time. They happen all the time. Every single year when we have a massive blessing ceremony in our movement, there are individuals who have been through a lot together. It's not always so clean cut, when it comes black and white, when it comes to the matching process and the blessing. So in my own case, you might be saying, oh, Benji, it's easy for you to say you've been blessed for 10 years now and you have kids and everything's hunky-dory for you. No, it's not. And I can tell you for a fact that if I were to be blessed, if it were up to me, of course, in the end, everything is up to me. My life is mine. My decisions are my responsibility. But something I believe, God, spirit world, has guided me to be married with somebody that is completely not the person that I would have ever expected in my entire life to be the person of my choice. Absolutely not. And if you look at a photo of ourselves, or if you meet my wife, you'll see it immediately what I'm talking about. She is I'm a aggressive Leo type, ready to get going, get stuff done. I just, if you get in my way, I'm gonna, if you're like a gazelle, right? Grazing the grass in the field, I will eat you alive if you get in my way. And then I'll take a nap because I'm tired. But my wife is very mild-mannered, very calm, very intentional, very smart, wise, street smart, Japanese woman from northern Japan, born and raised. And that's totally not the type that I would have ever imagined myself being blessed with. I would probably be blessed with somebody who, was like, oh, Benji, you're so, you're the most amazing, handsome, you're the best father in the whole world. And sometimes I kind of want that, honestly. But my wife is like, she's not that. She never was, and she probably never. And I've given up on, expecting her to be a certain way to me. That's probably the person that I probably would have picked if I were just thinking limitedly about who I am, who I felt like might be compatible for me, who might be the best person for me. But to be honest, marrying a Japanese woman from a completely different culture, completely different mindset, a culture where, they prioritize certain things over other things that we prioritize here in America, for example. And so by marrying someone like that, I've been able to completely radically change the way I think about life, about people, about relationships. I've become a lot more open-minded and less narcissistic. If I were to be married with someone who's always like, "Oh, Benjy, you're such an amazing husband. I can't believe how #blessed I am to have them." If I was married to someone like that, God bless them, then I definitely would have been a very, very different narcissistic. "Oh, I'm the best person in the whole world. I don't need to do anything. I'm already perfect." But my wife, she kicks my butt every single day. Not kicks my butt. She pushes me to be the best version of myself that I can be every single day, no matter what. No matter how great of a job I think I did. And you might be thinking, she should just compliment you sometimes or tell you you're amazing and how. She does, but in her own way, if that makes sense. She appreciates me and loves me in her own unique way that I've learned how to appreciate, which is more of like service and spending quality time together, making delicious meals, and I've always appreciated that about her. Even if she's not vocalizing it, she feels value in just taking action and showing her love in an actionable way rather than just saying it, And so my point here is that we don't know what the best person is for us. And 10 years down the road, we have 2 children that are very, very lucky and privileged to have such parents that love them to death, that we spend all of our time investing in them and loving them, spending time with them, laughing with them, playing Legos, going outside, camping, biking, we do all this kind of stuff together. And they're very privileged to have that. But we wouldn't have that. We wouldn't have this relationship where we're constantly creating a dynamic, a very fun and exciting dynamic that doesn't get boring because we're too similar. We're totally opposites. We never in a million years would have imagined we'd be blessed together in marriage. And the result is that we've created a life that we could never have imagined in our entire lives. We live here in America. We travel back to Japan every single year. For the last 6 years since our son was born, we've been going to Japan to visit her family every year. And we've, been able to experience Japanese culture and American culture to get together. I've been able to learn Japanese and Korean language through being blessed with her. She lived in Korea for 7 odd years. So it's like this life is not possible by myself. That's my point. It's not something that I can comprehend or conceive by myself. And I'm not here to talk about me anymore. I'm here to talk about you. We're here because you're in a position where you don't know who the right person might be, what kind of person might be right for myself, or if you're a parent, for your child, for your family. And my point here is that yes, there is somebody for you, absolutely. But the only way to find that person, the person that will balance you out, is you have to be open-minded. And I say this with sincere strength in my voice, is that you have to be open-minded to the possibilities that God might want to prepare. And we've seen many, many times, I've seen many cases, you probably know people like this yourself, maybe in your family or in your friend circle, of individuals who are so particular about the kind of person that they want to be blessed with or matched with, that they put this off far too long for many, many years, and they kind of become a little bit jaded or a little bit, like, oh, all hope is lost, where in fact, if you actually identify what they're looking for example, just out of the blue, there's more recent conversation I had with a guy who's my age, 28, 29 years old. He was looking for a Japanese American yoga instructor who doesn't like to party, but is, all of these things, right, that this guy was coming up with. And I was like, do you realize that there are probably 1 or 2 people in our entire world or community that matches your particular specifications? And this happens a lot. So the more we are specific about the kind of person that we're looking for, the more we're actually limiting the opportunity for God to work, and we're limiting the pool of individuals that match that situation. Now, it's perfectly, and another example is, I need someone that speaks English. It has, perfect English. They have to be from America or France. They have to be half Japanese and half black. They have to be, all these things that maybe we have conceptions. And let me be very, very clear. It's okay. It's perfectly fine to have these certain deal breakers, certain things or expectations that you want out of a spouse. My point is that you have to honestly ask yourself if those qualifications are based on more superficial facts or factors, or more internal factors or value-based factors. Some factors that would be really important is, does this person have sexual integrity? Do they have an addiction to pornography or past porn habit? That is something really important to consider. Is this person willing to, have children, right? Obviously, when we're receiving the blessing by definition is a commitment to raise a family in God's tradition, in God's lineage, right? Is this person willing, how does this person want to raise their children? Things that really affect the long term. Think of it like that. What are the factors that really affect long term that are actually meaningful? Things like race, or, what they're doing, how they're doing financially, or how tall they are. That's actually a very important thing for a lot of people. And I don't want I want to give credit to that because people do find that really important. But I want to challenge you and ask, are you willing to limit the way that God works through this process, through your blessing and through your future and your lineage, that you're willing to put all that aside and say that the most important thing is that they have to be taller than me, or they have to be this much shorter than me, or they have to be exactly 2 years younger than me, or So it's not realistic to think like that. And you'd be surprised at how open your pool of opportunity is. For example, if you say, I want to be blessed with someone that speaks English, that's understandable. It speaks. How well do they have to speak English? There are plenty of individuals, most of the world, in fact, are able to speak English fine, right? I was blessed with somebody who didn't speak any English when we were married, and I did not speak any Japanese when we were married. In fact, we had to speak Korean, was our common language at the time, and I wasn't very good at Korean at the time. But over time, we've learned each other's languages, we've learned each other's cultures, and we're at a point where in our house we're constantly speaking all three of those languages, actually, with our kids, with each other, with our own parents. So it's a nice touch. But when you're limiting to just speaking English in a fluent way or a specific country, then you're not realizing that there are people in all over the world, without even naming, Philippines, Europe, South America, incredible. There are so many amazing candidates from Canada, South America, Central America, Europe, Africa, all over the world. There are people. But what people have an issue with, and where people get jaded and where people get frustrated, is they start talking with somebody and immediately they say, either the parent or yourself, the candidate, will say, oh, they don't speak English perfectly. Oh, they're a little bit, their skin tone is a little too dark for me, or a little too light for me, or their hair color is a little this, or I don't like the beard, So when you're entering a conversation, get this into your mind, please, and get this into your mind. When you enter a conversation with somebody, whoever it is, if somebody approaches you or you approach another family, if you're watching this as a candidate, a single person, or as a parent, or whoever, when you're in a situation where you're starting your communication, give them a fighting chance. Give them the chance they deserve, designed by God, to be able to figure out if this is a match that God can work with and create something beautiful with. Because you're not just two people coming together. I'm sorry, you're not. You can't be. You're not even two couples or two families coming together. It is two lineages, two ancestral lineages that are coming together that are going to be formed long-term, well into the future, for forever, essentially. So you got to be thinking a little bit more broad-minded than just the more external, superficial factors of the blessing, right? And so when you're having these conversations, give everybody a fighting chance. Ask them the right questions. Ask the questions you would ask anybody. Even if your first look at them is like, ooh, I don't know. You never know. There are so many people. I want to show a photo of another case study that we have. We have every single year for the last 3 years, or 4 years, we've had a blessing in Korea, a marriage blessing officiated by true parents, and we have couples that go to Korea from America to receive the blessing, and I'm kind of in charge, or responsible for taking care of these and organizing the program for the couples who are going from America to Korea for the blessing. And every single year, we've had, for the last 2 blessings we've had in Korea in 2018 and 2020, we have had, of all those couples, we've had 12 of those couples go through the High Noon program. And High Noon is essentially they went through a porn recovery program with High Noon, one of the individuals in those 12 couples. So to me, that was really a beautiful thing. And you might be thinking that, on the surface level, somebody who's struggling with a porn habit or in some kind of program is the least marriageable person to consider going to the blessing, right? I would actually argue that these people are the most qualified to go to the blessing. Not because of the level of their addiction, but because they did significant amount of work on themselves to prepare for the blessing. When they started the matching process, communicating with their spouse, they were intentionally very honest and upfront about their past struggle with pornography. And in some cases, they were still struggling while they're in that matching process, right? And that goes to show that regardless of who you are, pornography addiction is really high up there in terms of, things that, like, if I were to think this is something that I'm like hiding and I'm holding back and is absolutely going to affect my future blessing and make me an unmarriageable human being, as I have this dark secret that I'm doing behind closed doors. And if you think in terms of that, it's really a beautiful thing that couple is able to, those 12 couples from this year and 2018 and before as well, were able to have this conversation about matching, about blessing, about their sexual integrity, their sexual relationship in a healthy and constructive way, and eventually find a way to work together on this, overcome it, receive the blessing, and start their family, right? It's beautiful. It's like God rejoices when he sees this kind of level of communication and honesty and brutal openness and integrity and character in our blessed couples. Many times people do hide these kinds of things, whether it's a porn habit or a food addiction or a sugar addiction or anger problems or any sort of problems or habits or addictions that we have. Being able to openly talk about those things is essential, not only for the short term but long term as well. If you're talking with somebody and you might be thinking, I have this issue that I'm working through still, or I don't know if I'm marriageable because I have, whatever issue, or externally speaking, I have this mole on my eyeball, or I have half an ear. I don't know, whatever it is. I'm missing a tooth. You might be thinking about those things, but if everybody gives each other a fighting chance, and you, first of all, give every person you commit to talking with or approaches you a fighting chance to consider, is this person the person that will allow me to grow into the best person that I can be? I think that's probably the most important question you can ask, rather than there's certain other factors like, do they share the same value system as me? That's a very important thing. Do they, in terms of belief system, in terms of life of faith, in terms of how they want to raise their children, what kind of marriage they want to have, what kind of relationship with their parents they have or have had, those kind of value systems are very important. And also, what kind of blessing do they want to create? What kind of family do they want to create? And on top of all that, you have to ask yourselves, can this person help me grow every single day of my life to be a better, more loving, more caring, more accepting, more unconditionally loving person every day without fail? And if the answer to that is yes, that's a good match. For me, for example, like I said, my wife and I are very different, and every single day it's a stretch to learn how to love her and help grow. At the very bottom point of our relationship, just a quick story, was when we were blessed for about three or 4 years at the time. And we were living in Tokyo, Japan, in this really expensive apartment in like central Tokyo. And it was really a low point, we were constantly arguing about everything, I was living in her country. We're in Tokyo. It's very stressful, right? Situation. It was like living in a microwave or something. And it was like every day we were arguing about, I don't know, lots of stuff. We were arguing about everything and misunderstanding and just feeling lack of love from each other. Like I said, we're different. The way we express love is different. Feeling like she should appreciate me more and compliment me, and she feeling like you should spend more time with me and do more, this kind of thing. So it's like really, really a bad situation. We were fighting. I would like run out the door and just like screaming and throwing my bag, and had, people watching me like, oh my God, it's like, who is this American guy? And that was really like the low point. And then I realized through that process, like you really can't have like a smooth relationship all the time. It really takes, anyone who has a successful relationship that you know of, any married individual, they go through this process of really like grinding each other like diamonds, like coals becoming diamonds, if that's the right analogy. It takes a lot of like pressure and hard work and just sometimes growing pains to really develop this relationship that is truly remarkable and beautiful and substantial and successful. And that kind of quality relationship is only possible when we're willing to realize that the purpose of marriage, and this is something I realized at that time in Tokyo, and it was really a crossroads for our relationship. I realized that the purpose of this blessing, the purpose of a relationship, any relationship, the purpose of marriage is not my satisfaction, my happiness, my fulfillment. The purpose is actually growth. That's the purpose, is to grow myself to resemble the heart of God, for myself as a man to resemble the masculine heart of God, for my wife to represent the feminine heart of God. And together we create a diamond, and together we can expand that love to our children and to everybody around us. And that is the purpose. And at the end of every single day together, regardless of how great the day was and how wonderful our relationship was, or how difficult it was and how much we were fighting, at the end of the day, if I can say honestly, like, I love my spouse more than I did yesterday. I love her every single day more than I did the day before, the week before. And if we can answer that question, it's like, yeah, I'm growing. And my spouse is growing. It's not a one-way thing. In order to really grow as a couple, you both have to grow and apologize and sincerely just recognize the mistakes that we make. Then that is the purpose. You are fulfilling the purpose of your blessing. And that's where children come in, right? We've been blessed with 2 children that we love to death. And it's no secret that having kids is not an easy task especially for the mom, but also for the whole family. It's not easy. But the joy that we receive, this is really the selling point for children, why I love children so much. The joy that I receive from seeing them grow, and from myself being able to grow, going from a really like irritated and like, why aren't you sleeping? Go to sleep. Hurry, I've been doing this for an hour. Going from like that really frustrated father that I was in the beginning. After our son was born, he was like the cutest thing in the world. Oh my goodness, it's like picture. And then eventually it's like, oh my God, this is so tiring. And then if you spend enough time with your child, you eventually pass this peak and you just realize like, wow, like I'm growing a lot. And this is really a beautiful thing. And I just adore this human being to death. And I would die for this person, And that's really the beauty of the blessing. And having a family is that we're growing together and we're learning from our mistakes. And we're able to help people tremendously. We're able to help people as long as we're growing. And we can honestly say that I'm a better person today than I was yesterday. I'm a better husband or father or mother or wife than I was yesterday. Then you're going to succeed in life. Everything in your life will be amazing because nothing will matter more than that. Am I today, if I can say that I'm a better son or a better daughter or a better parent than I was yesterday, or a better friend to somebody, then your life will not be meaningless because you will be more loving as an individual. You will be able to express that love and that open heart to more people around you. And without that, and if we're just living alone by ourselves in our own minds, or, sometimes people are in relationships and they run away from it. We all know, spouses or parents who make work and other things a priority in their lives, and they don't make what is truly important, their family, because they're not willing to grow and experience the growing pains of that relationship. So, to wrap up this video, it was really about, is there somebody right for me? And the quick answer is absolutely yes. There is the person for everybody. You just have to be a little creative, a little open-minded, and really be willing to grow from the experience of talking with someone, and give everybody you interact with the respect and validation that they deserve, because everybody is a child of God, our Heavenly Parent. Okay, thank you so much for watching. God bless. We love you. Take care. If this video is helpful, I'm really, really glad to hear that. Please consider sharing it with somebody that you love. And if you'd like to join our membership community of individuals who are on this crazy path to go through the matching process and receive the blessing, then consider joining MatchNet. MatchNet is our step-by-step guide and systematic process every single week to guide you through becoming a matching candidate, going through the matching process, communicating with somebody, and eventually receiving the blessing when you're ready. Thank you for watching.